You come to the earth from somewhere where you long to return. As long as the soul is not awake, as long as you don't know where you come from, nothing seems to be enough. Nowhere seems to be home. As long as you are asleep, you cannot perceive the grand plan of everything working for your good. You build mansions, you build cities, you own property, you accumulate treasures. You long for the right one. You long for more. But it is never enough because it's all vanity, an illusion that cannot be grasped. You long for love. You long to be accepted because you do not belong to a place. You belong to a state of perfect peace, love, joy, and abundance. You long because you know this state of being is home. As the philosopher Plato once said, the soul of man is immortal and imperishable. This concept of an eternal soul resonates across many spiritual traditions, suggesting our earthly existence is but a chapter in a grander journey. The story of our life on earth begins in the most miraculous way, when we receive the breath of life. From the moment an infant is conceived, a symphony of creation unfolds within the womb, guided by the unseen, the Almighty One, the breath of life. The heart begins to take shape remarkably early in development. By the third week of pregnancy, around day 21, the primitive heart tube forms and starts to beat. Imagine that. A tiny rhythmic pulse signaling the beginning of a new life. By week 4 to 5, this heart is no longer just a simple tube. It evolves rapidly, pumping blood and undergoing intricate structural changes. By week 8, it has transformed into a fully formed organ with 4 chambers ready to sustain life. Yet, even as it matures throughout pregnancy, its purpose remains profound: to circulate the lifeblood that sustains every cell in the growing body. But what if there is more to this story than what we see? What if life isn't just about biology, but also about something deeper, something unseen yet profoundly real? Beyond physical formation of the body lies a mystery that science cannot fully explain. The story of the soul, attaching to the embryo and developing from a baby into an adult. This begins at conception, a divine spark that animates the being and gives it purpose beyond mere existence. The soul is sustained by the breath of life. It resides not just in the breathing heart, but flows through every fiber of our being, stretching to the spine, intertwining with the central nervous system and animating us with vitality. But here is an important truth. It is not the heart or spine that gives life. It is the soul, a gift from something greater than ourselves, connected to the Most High, the Creator, the Almighty One. This essence cannot be seen with the human eyes, yet it is undeniably real. The heart, the mind, the spine, the body cannot live without the soul. That is one with the breath of life. A body without a soul is a corpse. Did you know that our human eyes can only perceive a tiny fraction of what exists around us? The visible spectrum is just a sliver of the vast electromagnetic spectrum. In fact, it amounts to only about 0.035% of all radiation in existence. In much the same way, the soul's journey begins long before we can measure or detect it. From its earliest moments in the womb to its first breath outside, it is sustained by an unseen force, the breath of its creator. This breath animates life itself and connects us to something far greater than our earthly experience. When a baby is born into this world, it arrives as a pure soul, a being untouched by fear, hate, or judgment. It knows only love. At this stage, there is no ego, no earthly identity, just a soul experiencing life in its purest form. But as this soul begins to interact with others, parents, family members, society, something subtle yet profound occurs. The ego starts to form. It attaches itself to the being through thoughts, beliefs, expectations, and emotions projected by others. This process shapes how we see ourselves and how we navigate the world around us. The journey from conception to birth and beyond is a testament to both science and spirit. While biology explains much about how we are formed physically, it cannot fully capture the wonder of what makes us truly alive, our soul. So as you marvel at the miracle of life, remember that there is far more happening than meets the eye. We are not just bodies animated by beating hearts. We are souls having an earthly experience, connected to each other and to something infinitely greater than ourselves. Let this knowledge inspire you to see beyond what is visible and embrace both the mystery and beauty of existence. According to Greek mythology, Asclepius was a Greek god of healing. He carried a staff for two reasons. It represented the walking stick of a roaming physician, and when cut fresh, could be thrust into the ground to grow again, another symbol of renewal. The staff, combined with the snake, became a powerful symbol of return to health after illness. A more esoteric meaning is that the rod originated from the biblical story of Nehushtan, the brazen statue of a snake on a rod. Moses supposedly resurrected to combat an onslaught of venomous snakes brought by divine wrath. The rod represents the soul, and the serpent coiling around the rod represents the ego, as snakes are the Judeo-Christian symbol of evil. The symbolism here has been interpreted as the concept of recognizing sickness, problems, and sin in order to cure it. It was said that simply looking or beholding the effigy will cure the Israelites of the bite. I will add here that by recognizing that the Most High dwells within your soul, as you receive the breath of life, has the ability to fundamentally change your experience here on earth. All you need is to recognize, become aware that you are a miracle, that there is no death, that you are one with the Most High, that the Creator of the universe dwells within you. From the moment we are born, our journey is shaped by the force in our breath, the unseen. At the center of this journey lies a delicate interplay between the soul, our true eternal essence, and the ego, a construct that seeks to define us through external experiences, identities, and beliefs. The Almighty One who gives life to our soul is gentle, kind, is the author of the grand plan, the reason we are here. The ego begins to work early. It informs how we define ourselves, shaping our sense of identity through experiences and reinforcing specific beliefs, expectations, emotions, attachments. It whispers to us who we are, or rather, who it wants us to believe we are. The influence of the ego is not limited to the being. The egos of parents, guardians, and the surrounding community also play a role in molding the being. These external forces project their own ego, expectations, identities, thoughts, and emotions onto the being, further shaping its perception of itself. As the baby grows into a teenager, a young adult, and eventually a mature being, these projections accumulate like layers of paint on a canvas. The being begins to attach itself to various identities: social class, race, nationality, clan, tribe, all labels imposed by society from birth. The ego convinces the being that these labels are fundamental truths about who they are. I, for example, was born, raised, and grew up in Kenya. However, this identity is not infinite. If I was born only a few decades before colonization, I would not be a Kenyan. This is an identity introduced fairly recently, and there are extremely high chances that if I was to be born just a few decades from now, I will still not be a Kenyan. I would probably be a different nationality. This is true for you as well. The ego does not stop at identity. It shapes how we view ourselves and respond to life's challenges. Expectations about success, love, admiration, and even disappointment become deeply ingrained in the being's psyche. These expectations dictate how the being measures its worth and navigates relationships with others. Emotions play an equally powerful role. The ego attaches emotional states such as conscientiousness, extraversion, agreeableness, or openness to the being's sense of self. These emotions can influence overall life satisfaction and shape how the being interprets its experiences. But not all emotions are positive. The ego can also burden the being with negative thoughts, fears of inadequacy, beliefs in curses or genetic flaws, or feelings of torment that seem inescapable. On the other hand, it can inflate the being with false hope, overconfidence, or self-righteousness, traps that keep the soul bound in an illusion. Amidst this noise of identities and emotions projected by the ego lies something pure, the soul. It whispers quietly to the being, urging it to look beyond these falsehoods and rediscover its true essence. Yet, this voice is often drowned out by the chaos of life, the distractions created by false identities and social constructs. The being becomes like a radio, tuned to every frequency around it, but unable to find stillness to hear its own signal, the voice of its soul. This disconnection leads to confusion as the ego dictates major life decisions: who to marry, what career path to follow, and how to navigate existence itself. The ego creates an illusion of comfort for the being, a semblance of peace found in familiar patterns of thought and behavior. These patterns reinforce what is known rather than what is true. The ego uses politics, religion, economics, and entertainment as a drug that keeps the being trapped. Politics convinces the being that freedom must come from others. Religion externalizes the being's essence of meaning and purpose. The financial system gives a false hope that the being can achieve an elusive dream through greed and craftiness. Entertainment to idolize other beings and to keep the being distracted from its true essence. These distractions keep the soul bound or asleep while feeding the ego's illusions. Even when surrounded by material abundance, wealth, beauty, status, the being may still find emptiness inside. This restlessness is not a flaw. It is the soul's longing for freedom. No matter how much success or suffering life brings, the soul continues to whisper gently for awakening. The soul longs for love because it is love. It yearns for peace because it is peace. It seeks joy because it is joy. These qualities are its natural state, its true essence, buried beneath layers of falsehoods imposed by the ego-driven experiences. The ego fears death, not just physical death, but also the loss of identity that it has spent a lifetime constructing. It creates distractions and even false gods to keep the being tethered to its illusions. But no matter how strong these distractions may be, they cannot silence the quiet nudges of the truth from within. The soul calls for liberation like an actor stepping off stage after playing a role in a long performance. When we stop identifying with these roles, these illusions crafted by the ego, we can finally begin to hear that still small voice within us, the voice of our Creator, the Almighty One. This voice calls us home to love without condition, peace that has no understanding, joy without reason. It reminds us that we are more than our identities or experiences. We are eternal beings connected to something infinitely greater than ourselves. To awaken is not easy. It requires courage to let go of the attachments that feel familiar but false. It demands stillness in a world full of noise and trust in something unseen yet deeply felt. But when we respond to this call, when we align with our soul rather than our ego, we discover our true essence, a divine spark created in love and sustained by grace. This is not just freedom, it is fulfillment. The realization that we are not separate from the Creator, but we are one with all that is good and eternal. So listen closely. Beneath all distractions lies your true self, waiting patiently for you to awaken, to rise above the illusion to the truth, to live as you're always meant to live, free, one with your true essence, one with the Almighty.